Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, 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 Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praise, all glory, all honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakahak Wadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and love and peace and salutations. To you hopeful elect brothers out here pushing this truth across the four corners of the globe, and to you sincere sisters that are watching, I'm going to say shalom, as well as the Israelite foreigners that look like unto the other nations that are of the elect. I want to say shalom to you as well. Today I'm going to go into the subject matter of just listening to the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, because that will keep you out of a world of trouble, man. You know, when it comes to rebuke, when it comes to, you know, going off, you know, and things of that nature, man. It'll keep you, you know, on that straight and narrow. And all you have to do is just is do, listen and do, you know, listen to the words and then you do them. All right. So when you're reading these scriptures, all right, you're actually putting forth an effort to actually do it. And as it comes out a lot all the time that we are in this flesh, all right, we're not perfect yet, you know. We're striving to be as perfect as we possibly can be. Excuse me, my tongue getting tired. But we are in this flesh, and you will have messed up thoughts. All right, you will make, you know, some bad decisions, man. And you be like, damn, why I do that? You know, that's where repenting, you know, and fasting and praying comes in, you know. But we are in these chains of darkness, man. But, you know, as you progress in this truth, all right, and as you live a little and start to your spirit, you know, I call it spiritual maturity. As you start to grow in this thing, you begin to, you know, make less mistakes when it comes to serving Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Because that's what it's about. It's about trying to serve him, believing in this word that he has said, you know, teaching it and doing it, you know, walking therein, you know. So I'm going to get a few precepts, man, and Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I'm going to start in Proverbs, the 4th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 20, and it reads, My son, attend to my word, incline thine ear unto my sayings. All right? Attend to my word and incline to the words that I'm saying. I'm listening. All right? Don't just read just to be reading, because you know sometimes you're reading and you don't even remember shit that you read. You know, if you're not like listening and paying attention, all right, to what you're actually reading, looking up the words, you know, definitions, what this mean and what that mean. Who is this and who is that? What significance role did they play? You know, things of that nature. So when you're going into the scriptures, you can't just skim over. You can't just look at it. You actually have to go into, you know, the Greek, the Latin, the Hebrew, all right, as we were taught by apostles and elders, you know, our elder bishops, you know. You have to really get into these things. So when you're reading, all right, you don't, if it's a word that you don't know or you don't understand, you should stop. I mean, as you're studying, you should stop and look that word up. All right. This is not a skim over progress. I mean, sometimes, you know, you know, you're in a place where you can't, you know, sometimes, you know, you'll read at work or something, you know, you don't really have time to go into it. But
if you start making
Salaki, I am at work.
Go to the lowest number and work up to 74. I'm doing 168 right now.
So I'm Salaki, I am at the plantation.
Make it easy for
So we are to be looking these things up. So like I almost lost my train of thought. All right, and not just, you know, skimming. And if, like I said, if you're at work, that's where I was at with it. If you're at work and you don't understand, you should keep that in mind. So when you are in a place where you can actually look those things up, you look it up. You know, it says, "Let them." Verse 21. It says, "Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart." All right. So what you're seeing, you ought not let it decline from your, you know, your sight, and then you should keep it in your mind, because you know, going to your heart, it goes to the word Hebrew word lab, which means your mind. All right. So you got to keep these things in mind. All right. When you're making these decisions, as you're maneuvering through this society, as you're at work, all right, you're keeping these things in the back of your mind. You know, don't get too carried away, all right, in this world that we're living in, you know. Verse 22 said, for they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh, you know. So these things are, the scriptures is life, all right. The scriptures, it brings, the scriptures say, I come that you might have life and that more abundantly. So this is how you promote life, all right. It's following the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. This is how where life is at, all right. And in the kingdom, we're going to push all these things because all these laws and stuff are going to be inside of us. So we're not going to be able to go off no more. So we will live forever then. But now, man, you know, we're in these chains of darkness, this flesh. You know, we may have to suffer death. You know, well, you know, the Lord is on his way back. So who knows, man? You know, but you know, that's neither here nor there. You know, that's another subject matter for another time. It says, I'm going to jump down to verse 25. It says, let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look. You know, I'm going to keep going. It said, verse 23 said, keep thine heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. All right, so keep your mind diligent on what? The words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Living this life that we're living, man. All right. The scripture said what? He's called us out of darkness into this marvelous light. All right. And the light is what? The scriptures, man. This path that he has set us on. All right. He brought us out of the worldly activities that we were involved in, man. You know? And what a beautiful thing. Out of all of the billions and billions of people on this earth, he chose you, man. And he ain't got a lot of people that he's chosen. The scripture said, many are called, but few are chosen. So he called you out of that darkness into this marvelous light. So you should be walking as if you are one of the chosen. Do you know if you are one of the chosen? Absolutely not. But you should be walking as one of the chosen. Trying to do your best to please Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, because that's what it's about, man. Hoping our good outweigh our bad. Being a light unto this world. You know, we having a very, very important job to do, man. So like I'm under the weather as well. You know, I don't know what this is, man. It's going around, but you know, whatever, man. This is verse 24 said, put away from thee a forward mouth and a perverse lips put far from thee. All right. So those are the things that you stay away from, man. Going against the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Trying to fit in this world, man. Things of that nature. You know, I see this dude, Gorilla Hebrew, man. You know, he's sinking more and more into this world, man. The Lord is not pleased with a lot of things that are happening, man. You know. Verse 25 said, let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. So it's like almost like having tunnel vision. All right. It's just you and the finish line serving Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. All right, anything outside of that, man, you try to stay away from as much as you possibly can, because we are in this world and we do have to maneuver through the society that we're in. You know, but you be like Clark Kent, man. You disguise, you do what you got to do to survive, man. You know, it said, ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. You know, all thy ways be established, which what? You should be grounded in this truth, man. Every decision you make should be calculated, all right, and it shouldn't go against Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai no matter what. You know, I'm going to go to Hebrews chapter 2. Yeah, that's where I want to go. Hebrews chapter 2. Verse 1, and it reads, therefore we ought to give the more earnest heed to things which we have heard, all right, that we've been taught. Hold on, let me turn this off. It says, again, it says, Hebrews 2:1, it said, therefore we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest any time we should let them slip. All right. So when you reading these scriptures, you should be applying them. You know, you're taking heed to the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, which is what you're applying the scriptures on your day-to-day life. All right. You let nothing deter you, man. And like I said, you know, we got jobs and families and things of that nature. You know, sometimes you get comfortable and let your hair down a little bit, you know. But in these times, man, you really can't, man. Your head should stay on a swivel. Because in the world we living in, anything can happen just like that. You got all these mass shootings, you know. You got things that are happening, man. Jake just one crisis away from losing it. You can see it in these people's eyes, man. People are tired and wore out. And they don't give a damn anymore, man. So you have to really be watching what's going on, taking heed, all right, to the scriptures, because you never know what could happen. You know, you won't be around a lot of this madness, all right, if you're walking in the scriptures, man. Your focus will be on the brothers, you know, your family, you know, this word first, you know, then the brothers, then your family, you know. You know, you spend time with your ribs and your children. But the rest of this place, man, you really, man, let them fuck these people, man. You know? But take heed to the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and what you have heard. That we've been taught through our, you know, starting from our apostles on down to us younger brothers and elders, man. I'm going to go to 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy chapter 4. And I'm not like a real seasoned speaker, you know. That's something I thought I would have never thought I'd be speaking, you know, because I'm kind of a quiet and laid off kind of person, man. You know, but I've talked more now than I ever talked in my life. Even sometimes, you know, I'm still a little quiet around bros. You know, I just be looking, but I'm happy, I'm smiling, you know, that the brothers is having a good time. But, you know, I'm still kind of, you know, a quiet person. I never would have thought in a million years that I would be teaching out in front in public on the highways and byways, man. But the Lord, man, he knows what he's doing, man. And I know through that, I knew the Lord is a powerful power, man. Because I never would have thought that. I've always been quiet, always off to myself. Now I laugh a lot, you know, with the brothers, man. Have a good time with them. So the Lord, man, he'll get you where he needs you to be. All you got to do is trust in him, man. This is 1 Timothy chapter 4 and 16 said, take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine. Continue in them, for in doing this thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. All right, so it's important, you know, to teach this word. It's important, man. It's important to make sure that you're self-evaluating, making sure that you're in the right spirit, or to even teach this word. And then, of course, the doctrine, man. It has to be the 100% truth. Whatever comes out your mouth has to be the 100% truth, man. We cannot play and do what we want with the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. As you see IUIC, man. Playing with the words, man. Praying with the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You're going to have to pay for that, man. You know? I'm going to go to Wisdom of Solomon. Chapter 6 and verse 11. It says, wherefore set your affections upon my word. All right, so that's what it's an inside joke. That's your desire, boy. Your desire should be on the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, stand in the right spirit, man. Teaching the words correctly, helping brothers out. That's where your mind and your affection should be at, man. Desire them, and ye shall be instructed. All right, so if you desire the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he will guide you the way you need to be guided in his truth, man. You got to trust the process. You know, I love serving Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. Like I said a little earlier, man, I've never been a talkative type brother at all, man. I'm talking about even when I was in the world since I was a young lad, a young boy. I've never really liked talking and being around a lot of people, man. The truth has changed me, man, to a man. You know? This is Isaiah. I'm going to go to Isaiah 55:3. And it reads, "Incline your ear and come unto me." All right, so what? Listen to what I say. All right, and come back as an Israelite. You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. This is the guideline to our life. This is a guiding light to how we're supposed to be in this world, man. This is incline your ear and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live. All right. Hear, and your soul shall live. And I will make an everlasting covenant with thee, even the sure mercies of David. So he's going to be, we got the new covenant that's coming, man, with our salvation. Well, we're going to be immortal, all right? New bodies. We're going to serve the Lord the correct way. We're not going to be able to go off because the laws will be on our insides, like a computer programming. You ain't going to be able to outwalk sin anymore. I want to live like that. I want to serve the Lord correctly, man. But you got to be trying now, man. We should be rehearsing the righteous acts, man. We should be rehearsing how to be an Israelite, man. You know? I'm gonna read this again. It says, incline your ear and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. All right? So you have to listen and adhere to the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right? And your life will start to smooth off. That's why the scriptures say, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. I might have roughly paraphrased that. But all these things shall be added unto you. But you got to put the Lord first. That's why it says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, man. We should be wanting to live a righteous life. And the only way to live a righteous life is you're listening and doing the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, as the book of James, the first chapter says, be ye doer of the word and not a hearer only. All right? I'm going to go to Psalms 119 and I'm going to close it here. The Psalms 119 and 9. It says, Beth, with wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way, by taking heed thereto according to thy word. Taking heed according to thy word, because this is what it's about. Serving Yahweh Shem Yahushai, listening to the words and doing the words of the Lord. There's no other way. There's no other way to please Yahweh Shem Yahushai than other than listening to his words and doing them, man. That's the way you please Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That should be your pleasure. That should be where your affection is at. All right? Inclining your ear to the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, so with that, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Kakodash. Shalom.